All right, today we're unboxing and assembling a Traeger Woodridge Pro. I picked this up a couple weeks ago, have been impatiently waiting for free time to put it together. So here we go. This is my second assembly video. My first one was going on 3 years ago when we got and put together the Blackstone. The Blackstone, I love it. It does 95% of the things that we would make on a daily or weekly basis. This guy is going to offset that other 5% and probably be one of my primary sources of joy in the coming weeks and months to go low and slow, do pork butts, do briskets, and things like that. So Blackstone's still going to be the daily driver, but my convertible for the weekends is certainly going to be the smoker. So let's get into it. And should only take an hour, but we'll see. So anyway, this is where the fun begins. All right, so let's go first and not cut ourselves. All right, so I love the graphics on the box. Just a whole bunch of barbecue inspired imagery of the animals that we plan to eat with this. And then on the inside, now the boxes did come with a reputation of being very kid friendly, being careful of the staples, of course, but being a play pit or a play fort that the kids can play with. Then we've got our instructions. But it clearly states first things first. We're going to need a 12-foot by 12-foot space and 60 to 90 minutes to complete. Open all the boxes, sort out all the parts, and use the bottom half of the box as a mat for assembly and lineup of the parts and outlines. An extra set of hands, which Nolan is opposite camera right now, makes assembly a breeze. And a 6-pack is great incentive. He is 14. Happy birthday, by the way, belated. So I will partake in the 6-pack. Yeah, I can scan for digital assembly. But since I'm using my phone as a recording device, I will be doing the old paper setup. Giving you an up-close look of POV style. But yeah, clear look at the instructions. QR code for digital assembly. And now, getting into the meat and potatoes. It's like the screen assembly controller. Hardware, more hardware. One of these. I was always impressed by whoever does packaging design to be able to get everything put together in here like a puzzle. So that's what the box looks like. I'm going to set you back down for free up my second hand. All right. trying to make sure we don't throw away stuff we don't need to throw away. All right, so this is the multiple parts inside. Now, if I were smart, I would have had them do the free assembly that was offered, but I wanted to make a video, so that's my fault. So if I get 5 people that watch this and find any value in it whatsoever, then I guess it's worth it. This one is the drip tray, the grill grates, and the grease chute. Is a little bit of leakage from some grease on the drip tray, but I think most of that is oils from the manufacturing process. That is why we do a burn off when we commission the grill for the first time. So that's going to do a couple things. It's going to burn off all of that oil from the production process and create a little bit of a seasoning effect too. But yeah, as we can see, get a little bit of a closer up. You can see all that grease there inside of that. Not to worry. It's all part of the experience, Russ. And then here is our top rack grate. A lot of real estate for this grill. So not going to get really too into the weeds of why I chose this grill versus others. That might be for another video, but based on my upload history, I haven't been uploading that much, so might as well get into it today. Here's our grease bucket. They've got an ice bucket challenge. Nolan, what say you about a grease bucket challenge? Fort. Here's the hopper auger, the fan, and where the pellet intake mechanism is. Yeah, I imagine if you work at a store and set these up regularly. I was at my local Ace Hardware and they have a retiree come in and put several of these things together each day. So I'm sure once you've done it several times, you can knock through it pretty quickly. Here's the hopper. You got to watch because being a piece of, I mean, it's essentially a piece of technology with all of this stuff in it. So you've got wires and different clips going every which way. So you got to make sure not snagging those as we're taking the box apart. Starting to get into the big stuff. Now what, we're probably 10-15 minutes in and I've not read any of the instructions. So assuming there's low risk and just taking everything out of the box first, but it's a bold move. We'll see how it plays off. Okay, so we get into the bottom of the box. Reading this as I go, match the part of the grill to the outline on the mat and start the assembly process right. Now I'm thinking if I undo this flap like so, and like that, then we can just start doing it this way. All right. Opening up the instructions, it looks like chapter 1 is going to be the compartments and legs. Chapter 2 is going to be the bottom shelf wheels and casters. So different chapters, different parts of the process. So I think that the outlines on the board here are for organizational purposes. So let's get to it. So I'm looking for the auger box, which is right here. So we'll take this guy out of here. And then we've got the main assembly right here. So that guy goes right there. And I think it's looking for a shelf. I don't know what part that is. Okay, so we're opening up the hardware. They do include a Phillips head screwdriver. However, I want more power. Set the setting, the torque setting low, just so I don't strip anything out. But we're first going to install the safety grate on the hopper. So we've got our safety grate here. So on the outside of the box, it really outlines nicely what letter that you need to look for. So A, B, accordingly, so that you can pop out. So right now for the hopper grate, we're going to put some of these B screws in there, which correspond to these guys right there. So just an easy way to go through and find the right components. Going to brace the screws in. Like so. Just hand tighten it a little bit, but there we go. One step out of many. Started off pretty easily, and now we're assembling the hopper. So the size B screw, there's a extra box here that has many of those. It seems to be the more uniform screw for the setup. All right, so this is going to go in the silver side out, and then we're going to get a screw. Just going to start and get these threaded a little bit, and then we'll tighten last. Eight and 9. All right, so that's the hopper assembly there. All right, so one thing I messed up here is that I didn't put this upside down. There we go. So that's where we're going to match the hopper assembly to the bottom part of our grill. So now we're going to hook these up and match them from here. Yeah, that's about right. So there's 2 pins. 1, 2, actually 4, 3, 4 that we're going to use to give us a guide. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that just goes together there. 1, 2, 3, 4 brackets on the bottoms and the sides. So again, I'm just going to get them all started, and then I'll tighten once everything is connected. And I don't know about you, but I'm starving. I want to get this guy operational. So we're thinking about putting some ribeyes on tonight, trying some reverse seared ribeyes. Okay, so moving forward, we've got, that's step 3B, attach the hopper to the body. Now we're going to move on to connect the auger box. So it says, pro tip, have a second person hold the auger box while you connect the cord. Nolan ran off. He's got a 3D printer and found that more interesting than helping me. So no steak for him. We've got the cable here that we're going to have to connect. All right. I heard the click that it's connected. And then I slide her over, line up the screws. Pretty easy, just by myself. They recommend having a second person. You don't want to strip out the cables or the wires or anything. But again, didn't really find any issue or have any trouble doing so. All right. Making progress. So that was steps 4 and 5, connecting the auger box and then attaching the auger box. Now let's get them legs. All right, so we've depantsed our legs. We're going to need 16 of the A screw. It's the one we just used to connect the hopper. It's 1/4 inch lock screw, or screw with a lock washer. Again, we're counting out 16 of them. And then again, another pro tip here that they recommend is to not fully tighten all of the screws until all of the till they're all on there, just because there might be a little bit of give in the metal that you need to get them all lined up. But all 4 legs are the same, so you don't have to worry about assembling them incorrectly. I will say that they don't fit. If you were to pre-tighten any of the screws, they would not go together well at all. So that's a key point of that part. I've got little man joining me. What's up, dude? See what I'm doing? Yeah. Here, here, you want to sit down somewhere? Why don't you sit right here? Sit right there and watch, okay? Yep, this is going to be our new grill. Thank you. So we've got the legs assembled, at least screwed on. We still need the wheels and all. But next we're going to do the bottom shelf, wheels, and casters, starting chapter 2. So we're finding the plates, get those together. Those will be these guys right here. So we're just going to use 4 of the B screws, put this guy together independently from the rest of the grill. Just 4 of our B screws. All right, got them all lined up. We're just going to tighten. Now we're just putting on the name badges. No purpose other than just cover up the sides. Pro tip here is to make sure that the Traeger logo is upside down, because our tray is upside down, unless you want to be unique. We'll do that to both sides. Okay, we've got the shelf there. Now it's time to attach the bottom shelf. No screws are needed for this step. We're just going to drop it on and have the tabs fall into place. There are slots on each of the bases of each of the legs where these slots are just going to fit right in. So we just get those lined up. And we're good. Now we're going to put on the wheel hoofs. Hooves. Is it hooves or hoofs? All right, so. Oh, look who's back. No brisket for you. All right, so we've got our wheel hooves out. So I think there is a difference here. So our bigger ones, I think, go on the side with the hopper. There are alignment guides here. I just need to look again to see what that means. They basically match the curvature of, or the form of the leg, and the arrows face each other on the bottom. That's on the auger side, or on the hopper side. On the other side here, it's much more uniform. And then we're going to use some of our A screws to tighten each of these down. We'll have to manipulate the legs a little bit. All right, and then just all four sides, get them all lined up and tighten down. And making them a little bit more snug. Just those washers allow for a little bit more torque there. I'm gonna do that with all of the legs, actually give them another quick snug tug. That didn't sound good. All right, we've got the wheel hoofs on. Now we're putting on the wheels and casters. So we'll need some of the round cotter pins out of our kit. Got two of those. Got our wheel bar. Oh, and I lost a shoe. Casualty. That wheel bar through there. Okay, so I'm gonna pop my wheels on. One side first. And we've got our cotter pin. Not gonna lie, these cotter pins are trying not to rip a fingernail off. All right, that's the key. Fort. Do the same there, hold it so don't spin. All right, cotter pins are in. The last two wheels. Do the wheels before you flip it over. You want to install that one there? They just pop right in. All right, now we're ready to flip. We're getting there. Thank you. Chapter 3, the controls and shelving. So what I'm going to do is get this box out of here. Okay, now we're on chapter 3. I've got the grill oriented so that it's facing you all. Now we're going to start off with the P.A.L rails. It's going to be this guy. And then these two as well. This is where it gets expensive, is because they have a lot of different clip-on accessories to include. I'm going to get this guy, side shelf, and with my B screws, I'm going to put this guy together. All right, they're all threaded. Now, tighten. Next one's going to go across the front with hooks. A lot of hooks on this guy. It's going to come in handy. So this guy's going to take 6 of our B screws. Ease of installation, I'm just going to lay it on the top here. Get them all threaded real quick. Two down, and now the third one is going to be side bracket here. Again, easy to find with the hooks on it. All of this work will make the food taste better, or so I've been told. And then 4 of our B screws here to get this one set. Now these can go either way. I don't think that there's any rhyme or reason. There's no up or down from what I can gather. All right, I've got these all assembled there. Now it's time for the next step. We've built the rails. Now we're attaching the trim. And this is where we're going to take 6 of our B screws. Take 4 screws across, and we're going to first set up our rack here. Probably get 1 screw threaded first, just as a guide. All right, and we'll thread the last 2 on. Got that guy ready. Now, getting this lined up on the lip with this edge piece is important. Easy, but just got to slide it in there the right way. That's what she said. And I think it's important not to drop your screw in the auger. I'm looking at the auger right now and think how bad that will suck to try to fish that out. So let's be mindful with the hardware there. Now to tighten. So that was just to attach, but there are more screws that we put in there to secure it. So on the bottom end, right over where the hopper discharges, there are 2 places to screw in, and now along the front on each side here. 1 and 2. So now we're going to attach the folding side shelf brackets, and then it's just going to take 5 of our B screws. Now on the front side, we're just going to put 2 in here. As that slides through a channel. And then just get them centered. Easy peasy. And then the same thing for the back side is that there's a channel to slide those in. The screws are offset so that you can't put them in backwards. Now I did miss 1 screw on the front. That goes in through the back. So 5 total, 3 in the front, 2 on the back. And then we're going to take our eye screw. So we're opening up eye for the first time. And we'll need all 4 of these guys. These allow this shelf to hinge and fold. So I'm going to see if I can attach the top 2 screws first, so that I can set it in place and let it sit there for me. And while it's up there, I can take the bottom Yep, that seemed to work good. Work well. That way, the bottoms are fixed, and then you've got your top there, which may have over tightened a little bit. There's our folding shelf. Next up is our backsplash. So we're assembling the backsplash. One piece and two sides here. One of which has a cable to it for sensor, it appears. Then it looks like they all snap in. So on the, look for the bottom lip here. I'm going to take on the right side. Now, it does help that the guide here shows the R and the R, that those will go together. And then I'll just get my clips over top like so. Be mindful of your cord. And then your lefts are going to do the same thing. Get those lined up there. Just like that. Now we're going to route the backsplash wiring. So the wire is going to be on the hopper side. All right, so within this channel here, there's a simple, there's a hole where that just gets pulled through. And allows for the backsplash to sit right on there. That's going to go forward out this hole. So I think. I'm going to take 4 of my B screws and we're going to attach the backsplash. All right, backsplash assembled. And now the rear hook, that, believe it or not, goes on the rear. 2 screws on this guy. These are right behind that backsplash we just put on. It's angled, but it's pretty obvious. The hooks just aim straight down. Now the brains of the operation, we're going to hook up the controls. So we take a look here, we've got 3 different assemblies that are coming out at us. We've got the temperature probe that we just hooked up here on the backsplash. We've got, I think this is off of the auger, and then there's a third one down there. So we're going to get these ones connected now. But again, we're on, jumping ahead to 9A, we're going to need 2 of our B screws to screw this guy in from behind. That didn't sound good. But put that guy down there. First, we need to hook up our wiring. Pretty straightforward. This could be a team lift opportunity here. Trying not to drop nor put unneeded pressure on wires more than you would want to. All right, just want to make sure I'm not crimping any wires or smashing them in anywhere, but does not appear so. So we're going to get our top screws in here. And then we're instructed to secure the bottom of the controller. All could have been one step, but I think it's just separated to illustrate the difference in where the screws go. Now with one screw, we're going to take this grate here, and this is what covers up the hopper area. Which slides in, and then one screw here in the back to keep that in place. That's the vent plate, if you want to be specific. So nice work. We've polished off a half a 6-pack and are going to the lid and internals. First things first, we're going to attach our hopper lid. Just need to get these hinges in the right orientation. You just set it on there. Start by hand tightening. And we got them hand tightened. And now we've got our hopper lid perfectly secured, and I've got a place to set my drill. All right, now we're getting into the internals. So our chute. Now this is where you could get messy. As I mentioned before, there's oils from manufacturing that you're going to have on here. But don't fret, that's why there's the initial burn off. Need my lid. All right, so here's where we're at. We're just going to go and drop all these guys into place. So the heat baffle here, see where that slot is. Kind of hard to do one-handed, but that just goes into place there. Heat baffle is where the smoke comes up from the hopper. We're going to put that grease chute there. And then lastly, we've got our cover just to keep all of that stuff clean. Now back to the drawing board, and we're going to put in the big guy right here and install the drip tray. I would say it does have convenient handles to be able to not get too greasy on this step, but we shall see. All right. Pretty simple. It all slopes towards that tray, and it's got easy slots. Just line up your pins there, and it all drops in easy peasy. All right, we're really getting closer. We've got our handle. Okay, so I would say the important note here is that there are these kind of like a washer type thing. These are going to go on the outside, and just the screw in the washer on the inside. All right, my help has escaped, left, quits, went on strike, all of the above. So it might just be easy enough to put the thing on all the way. So I can line up and put the pins in. We'll see how this strategy pays off. Oh, she's moving on me. All right, so Be mindful when opening that these are not secure. Also need to see where I need to put the washers. All right. Washers go on the inside. So we're going to open her up. Washer. And then our pins. Nice and easy. Starting to look like a grill. Now to install our grates. Looks like the small one goes on the right-hand side. That was majestic. And then the larger of the two bottom grates. Goes on the left. And then the big boy goes on the back. So the back top grate drops in and then you set it down from there. We've got to be getting close. Ooh, the grease and ash keg. Honestly didn't know that that's what it was called. So this guy will get up close and personal. So this is where our grates go, you know, like any grill. And then our ash keg goes down there. Wow, we're to final touches. The power cord. Where is the power cord? This guy. This is the last thing to be unboxed. So watch me as I unbox a power cord. Not only is the power cord in there, but it also includes one wired probe. So there are two probe ports there. It's got a slot for one. And honestly, I think you just run it under the lid when you install it, but there's no specific hole for that to go through. And then you've got your basic power cord here that I'm impressed of how many times they had that wrapped. That's overkill. But they've got a nice, if we open up the hopper lid, nice area there to keep and maintain our probes when not in use. A lot of good instruction on there. Most importantly, it passed quality control. All right, and then just with a little bit of effort, it's almost as if it doesn't want to go in. You have to fiddle with this. It's not wanting to go easy. Maybe that's as far as it goes. We'll see if the power's on. Okay, the moment of truth. I've got power. So apparently the plug doesn't go in flush. Maybe it's broken. I don't know. But it's doing something. I've got my hopper warning because it's empty. Till I do that, cover the hopper sensor, then I move my hand, and then it'll probably recalibrate. I got it powered up, connected to Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. I named the grill, and it went through and did an automatic software update. So now I think I'm ready to put some pellets in the hopper and go through the seasoning process. Little man's making work of the box. We'll have to figure out how to take that apart so that they can use it as intended. But anyway, all right, so we're ready to go. I'm going to load in the pellets. So for the first burn off, quite honestly, being new to this, I don't really know which pellets I want to use. So I got, obviously Traeger's always going to recommend using Traeger pellets. So I found a good deal on Amazon for just their normal blend. And half this bag's probably going to be burned off during the initial cook anyway. So we'll see how it goes. But fill the hopper. I don't know how full is too full, but I would imagine so long as the lid closes. And as my lovely wife pointed out, looks a hell of a lot like rabbit food. So maybe they've got an alfalfa blend. Anyways, I think we're good to go. So I'm going to move this outside a little bit, and we're going to do our initial burn-in, and then go grab some steaks and have some dinner. I'm starving. We've moved the grill outside. We're going to get ready for the initial burn-in. But first, we've got the oddly satisfying label pulls, and then once that gets scratched, I'm going to regret taking this off, but the OCD in me has to remove all of that stuff. And then all of the different sales features, reminding me of what I'm giving up for not having the Woodridge Elite. But for the extra $1,000, I don't need the side burner or added insulation. All right, with the hopper full and making sure there's nothing else from a packaging standpoint. This stuff doesn't matter. It's just on the outside cardboard. Now she's on, we're going to move her up to 350 degrees. Lock it in. All right, so I think I need to go set it on 350, lock it in, and then hit the fire button. All right, so it's about 80 degrees out today, so that's what the box temperature is. The sun shining down on the grill, had it had been out, would probably account for more heat. But I can hear the fan kicking on and the auger. So I think we're in business. So we're going to run it at 350 for like 15 minutes. Yeah, here's the guide. We're going to run it at 350 for 15 minutes. And then we're going to increase temperature to 500 for 45 minutes. And that should be it. And we'll be ready to go. At this point, we are down to our last beer. enjoy you've made it this far, and we'll check in 15 minutes. Okay, so fast forward about an hour and a half. It went through its cycle, 350 degrees for 5 minutes. No, I'm sorry, 350 degrees for 15 minutes, and then 500 degrees for 45 minutes. After we put it on 500 degrees, ran to the store, picked up some ribeyes for dinner. It is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all fellow fathers out there. And so I did the shutdown cycle remotely from the grocery store. And then as soon as I got home, I got it going, preheating. I should probably close the lid, but we're going to do reverse sear ribeyes and see how that goes. So look for a separate video where I'm going to do that. But from today's content, today's video where we assembled or we unboxed and then assembled and then seasoned the grill, thank you for following along. Hopefully, if you're in the market and you are interested in the Woodridge or the Woodridge Pro specifically to what I got, hopefully this helped answer some questions, or maybe you're putting it together and this helped. But anyway, really appreciate you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.